talk to you guys real quick about casual boxing fans and hardcore boxing fans. Now, I did a poll yesterday, and of course a lot of you guys would have seen it and took a vote if you have seen it, so thank you very much. And within there, I said, which are the better set of fans? And 18% said hardcore, 3% said casual, and 79% it doesn't matter. A boxing fan is a boxing fan. And you know what? I agree with everybody, to be honest with you. And I don't really do it to see who thought more of which kind of section or demographic of fans. It wasn't that important to me. It was your comments that I was really interested in. And I agree with so many of you. I really do. So thank you very much. For me, I don't care. I don't care if you've been watching boxing since the very first bout of Rocky Marciano and you're still alive to tell the tale. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I don't care if you just started watching boxing yesterday. Everybody's welcome here. I don't care. Okay? And for me, it's like, I welcome the new fans because everybody started somewhere. Nobody just became a hardcore fan from the very moment and knew everything. Nobody does. So for me, the kind of issues that I have are those who consider themselves to be hardcore, but really they may not be, or they're hardcore in old school, but they're not really up to date because times have changed. Let's be honest. This era of boxing is different to way back then. Now, for me, I go back to the times of Frank Bruno and Nigel Benn and like these kind of guys. So I'm not that old into it, okay, and I'm not that new into it either. I think I'm probably about average, I suppose, or maybe a little bit above average. But of course, a lot of people have been, say, boxing fans since when I was, and I don't know, years and years before then. And these people have been hardcore, as in they're reading all the articles and newspapers, and since internet's come along, they're going through everything, and they even watch fights. Hamza versus Bilal in the middle of Morocco somewhere, and that's all well and good, and that's fine for you. But just because you watch a lot of boxing fights and you know a lot of these people who other people don't know, doesn't make you better. That's pretty much my point of view, and I'm not doing this to have a go at anybody, okay? But there's certain things that I don't like, where, say for example, somebody who's quite clearly new into boxing, where they don't know. For example, I get questions about, why is it that Anthony Joshua isn't ranked on the WBC? And it's a very obvious answer for those who know boxing, okay? But I don't mind these questions, and I'm quite happy to answer these questions as to why. But then other people will attack these people, okay, to say, oh, you're just a casual boxing fan, get off of here. And for me, that is disgusting. Everybody starts somewhere. Nobody knows everything. I don't know everything. I'm not even close to knowing everything. As I said before, I've made no end of mistakes, and I still learn all the time. Now, because my boxing goes back to, say, Nigel Benn, Frank Bruno, that kind of era, that doesn't mean that I was hardcore right the way through. I didn't watch every single boxing bout and what have you. I didn't. I'd probably say most of Frank Bruno's fights, and a good chunk of Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank and Prince Nassim Hamed, and then going through for Ricky Hatton and Joe Calzaghe and just bits like that. For me, I was selective with who I watched. Okay, so even then, I'm not a hardcore boxing fan at all. And again, I suppose a lot of it depends on your perspective as to what it takes to be a hardcore boxing fan. I mean, there's some people out there who would, with boxing knowledge, eat me under the table very, very easily. Okay, but that doesn't mean on certain situations that they're right on everything. Of course it doesn't. Whereas my strengths could be, say, British boxing and certain things that go on today, but your strength could be way back when, or vice versa. Okay, so if somebody is asking a question, and even though it's an obvious answer to most people, don't have a go at them. Don't throw this term around, casual boxing fan. Who cares if you're a casual boxing fan? As I said, I don't care if you just watch Anthony Joshua. It's not important to me. So I would like it if everybody could just respect everybody else. Now, I understand certain things, okay? You do get some complete idiots. okay, who claim like they know something when it's quite obvious that they don't. And for me, I kind of feel a little bit embarrassed for them sometimes when they'll say something that's so way out of there, and some of these are quite clearly new boxing fans when it comes to, say, Deontay Wilder. Very, very clear, where they have zero clue about any of it, but they'll come along as if they do know. And for me, that kind of knocks me a little bit. But I'm not talking about that kind of group. I'm talking about people who are new into boxing. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Everybody does. And as I said, I haven't been hardcore all my life. Not at all. I've always been selective. Even now, to a point, I'm still selective. I couldn't tell you the 10th fight of Ryota Murata. I couldn't tell you that. I couldn't tell you who the best fighter is over in Thailand. I couldn't tell you that. Maybe it's Moonsri. I have no idea. But so just because you may know that, it doesn't mean that you have more knowledge than what I do when it comes to, say, today's boxing for a Matchroom fighter versus a Frank Warren fighter. It doesn't work that way. If you're in America and you're going to argue with me over why PBC is better than Top Rank, you'll probably win that argument. Because I'm not that hardcore at all. And I don't like the term when people who believe that they're hardcore insult others. It's like they're looking down on people. I don't like that at all. And it's disgusting, to be honest with you. There's no need for it. And I'm not talking about, like the racial terms where some people will only support fighters because they're white, because they're black. I'm not talking about all that kind of stuff. That stuff can sit on a bonfire and burn. I don't care about any kind of racism thing. I'm talking about those who will insult those who have less knowledge than others. For me, I don't like it. And I agree with the 79% of you who said that a boxing fan is a boxing fan. It doesn't matter. And to be honest, if you guys who've been watching boxing for, practically all your life and pretty hardcore on it, as in, reading the magazines and the back pages of The Sun and whatever else it may be, okay, have you really spent that much money into boxing more than, say, what a casual fan does? Because nowadays, boxing is pretty much run by a casual fan base. These are the ones who are ploughing the money into it. These are the ones who's going out and buying the tickets for the shows and buying the pay-per-views and whatever. A lot of hardcore boxing fans don't. They just sit back and watch, where the casual fan will get off the couch and actually go watch the fight. Not always. I mean, there's plenty of hardcore people out there who are quite literally hardcore. They will literally do everything. They will buy the merchandise. They will go to the signings even. They will go to the shows. They will go to press conferences. They will travel around. They will follow their fighter. Okay, I'm not talking about that. But for me, I think that, if your knowledge is very, very vast in boxing, don't insult those who don't. Because everybody starts somewhere. And of course, I'm not talking about the ones who you're calling casuals because they're just plain idiots. Because there's idiots, even if you're a hardcore fan, you can still be a complete plum. And that's pretty much my look on it. I don't like it when people, I'll see it in my comment section or whatever else, where somebody asks a very simple question and then they get attacked for asking that question. As I said, everybody starts somewhere. There's no need for it. You see, a lot of hardcore boxing fans think that they know everything. You don't know everything. Just because you know how many fights and how many title fights, say, Larry Holmes had, doesn't mean you know everything about boxing. It doesn't mean you know more about the contractual terms of a fighter nowadays. If anything, I think a lot of hardcore fans who've been hardcore fans for a long, long time, a lot of them are actually still stuck in the old days. That's why they really, really support, say, a Frank Warren show. Because they can't get into the Eddie Hearn, because Eddie Hearn is moving forward. He's moving with the times. These people don't want to move with the times. They're stuck in the old school mentality. But whereas today it's all about social media, it's all about the presence, it's all about the gift of the gab, it's all about that kind of thing. But back then it was about pretty much what you did in the ring. Whereas nowadays it's pretty much WWE era, I suppose you could say. But as I said, just because you know a lot about fighters and you know their records and you know how many wins they've got, how many world title fights they had and who they beat, what, where and when, and how many times they've travelled, That's great, but it doesn't mean that your knowledge is more vast than somebody who's maybe only been into boxing, say, for about a month or two on a certain subject. You don't know boxing about everything. I don't. Nobody does. Literally nobody does. Now, there are plenty of people out there, and there's plenty of channels out there as well, who's been watching boxing since forever. Okay, and not only have they started way back when, but they've continued to keep up to date with literally everything that's going on. I mean, like Hatman Strikes Back and Boxing Beats and Rhymes are two classic examples of that, where these guys know so much stuff of way back when. I mean, I've heard these guys talking about fighters that I've never heard of. Okay, and when they talk about today's fighters, again, they're up to date with it. But there's so many hardcore fans who are not up to date with what's going on today. You know, they don't know who, say, a Reece Bellotti is. Okay, they don't know anything like that, but they can tell you pretty much the entire Frank Warren stable. So when it comes down to terms, say, for example, this whole debate between Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Shelley Finkel, all this kind of thing, just because you know things of way back when doesn't mean you know more about that subject than, say, other people of today do. This is a new era. And if you're not moving with the times, if you don't embrace the social media, if you don't embrace the internet and for all what it does for boxing, and you want to be stuck in the hardcore dark days of sitting in small fight halls watching fighters that nobody's heard of, then that's entirely your prerogative. But don't insult other people who are not interested in that. They just want to watch Sky. They just want to watch Box Nation and BT Sport. They just want to watch PBC or Top Rank. Everybody's entitled to watch whatever they want to watch, and everybody is entitled to post anything in my comment section, as long as it's not attacking, as long as it's not racial, as long as it's not sexism or anything like that, and just hatred. That is not allowed. That's why I do have like a certain word. So if you guys sometimes say something and then your comment disappears, it's not that I've removed it, it's that I've set it so YouTube will flag certain words and then take that entire comment and put it in a spam folder, and then at some point when I get round to it, I can have a look at the comment and then release it or not release it, which I know, to be honest, I'm pretty lazy on. So anyway, just don't be calling people casual fans as if you're better than them, because for me, a casual fan is no better or worse than a hardcore fan, and a hardcore fan is no better or worse than a casual fan. It makes zero difference to me, and that's not me taking the moral high ground. That's how I've always felt. I like new people coming in. If you've got a question, ask the question. It's very simple. And if I catch somebody who's berating somebody for just asking a very, very simple question, then I'll have that person, because I don't allow attacking to a certain point. If it's a plain stupidity and there's an element of trolling going on with the original comment and people are jumping on that person, then hey, I'm just going to let people just go for it, because you shouldn't be acting a troll. But for anything else, listen, ask a question. Ask the question. Nobody is higher than anybody else. I don't consider myself a hardcore boxing fan, but I suppose in today's society, I kind of am. And a lot of that is because I do these videos. So of course, I'm always looking at articles and see what's going on, and then I'll report the news. And a lot of the things I learn as I'm doing the video. But could I tell you who Larry Holmes fought in his pro debut? No. Do I want to know? No. I couldn't tell you who Muhammad Ali's last fight was. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you the opponent. I've seen Muhammad Ali fight plenty of times, but I couldn't tell you those certain facts. Does that make me worse than what you are? No. I don't need to know about what's going on in the past with Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and what was Lennox Lewis's win to win his British heavyweight title and all this kind of thing. It's not important to today. I focus on today's boxing, not yesterday's boxing. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Of course, everybody's got their own different thoughts, and thank you very much for all the comments on that poll that I did, and I do appreciate it, and I certainly understand most of what you guys are saying. Where of course you guys look at, say, certain casual fans as complete idiots, but you're not looking at the new fans. You're talking about the ones who are quite clearly just trolling, who are very, very new into boxing but acting like they know a lot, but when quite obviously they don't. I understand that perspective. And also with the hardcore fans as well, where a lot of people think that they know everything, but you don't. Nobody knows everything. Nobody does. So anyway, for me, it's all about today's boxing, and I don't care if you're hardcore. I don't care if you're casual. I just don't care at all. Anyway, I'll probably miss a whole load of stuff. You guys drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Have a little debate between yourself, and catch you all in the next video. Subscribe.